Thought I was called for a sec. All right. I have now finished the Iron Prince. This is my third LitRPG or Progression RPG or whatever Progression Fantasy I've ever done. And so now I have some thoughts on it. Now, I feel a little bit confused and conflicted about what my feelings are because a number of things are happening at the same time. Now, I did grow up with video games. I played them into my 20s and 30s, less so in my 40s, but I still dabble in it. And it does scratch that itch of what a lot of those video games were like, where you just want to stay up a little longer, grind a little further, see if I can level up, just go a little bit further into the night and just see what's next. And so each of the three things I have read, first being, I think I started with Bastion. I've only done the first one. And then I went to Dungeon Crawler Carl, and I've done two of those, I believe. And then now the Iron Prince. So none of these were, well, actually, Iron Prince and Bastion were all both pretty beefy books. Now, I did it on digital, but it seems like they were closer to 800 pages or something like that. If I don't know what it turns out on my little Kindle here, but they seemed like not small books. In Iron Prince, I started it last week, and I was on a road trip, and so 12 hours both ways. I didn't listen to it the whole time, but it kept me super engaged. Then I came home, and I finished it now within a week. And so that was really quick. I don't usually go through an 800-page book in a week. And the same thing happened with Bastion. Now it's also a very beefy book. Finished it very quickly. And same with Dungeon Crawler Carl. I think I finished the first book, which it wasn't super large, but I think I only did it in 2 or 3 days. And then the next one I also finished pretty quickly. So in terms of keeping me engaged, wanting to see what's next, love the genre so far on. I don't really know the difference between lit RPG and progression fantasy or whatever yet. I don't even know what it is. Maybe I'll go check that after this. But now, in terms of all three of those, let me go through them actually each, because there are some similarities and some reasons why I am kind of conflicted, while also feeling super engaged with the books that I've read. Now, Bastion, I believe, was my first one. This basically happens in hell. And there are, it's been over a year now since I've read it. So forgive me for having a little, being a little shaky on it. There's several levels of hell or whatever, kind of like Dante. And our main character, Scorio, I believe his name was, wakes up with a whole bunch of people, and they go through this kind of testing sort of thing where their minds go into this virtual sort of thing that has different levels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to whatever it ends up being. And depending on how long you last before you die, that determines what kind of ranking or whatever you will get in your life when you go to school or placements and things like that. And also, you forget, like you die in the virtual world and you go back, but you also die in this hell existence, and then you can go back, and it's almost like you've been wiped, your memory wiped, and then you You will have some sort of memory, or no, some sort of information given to you on your past life and whatever. And this Scorio was this high-ranking individual at one point, but also very dangerous and sent to this place where you're supposed to be like in a prison forever. And anyway, it turned out, I think this was self-published, so some of the writing was a little bit shaky. A lot of the editing, it almost felt like, even though it was happening in hell, it was almost like the writing was very much like a Full House. You could, the friendships that they go in, it has this school that they're going to. They're trying to level up and things with the mana stuff, but with their friends, they often have these points where they kind of will sit back and they'll say, you guys are the best friends anyone could ever have. And very strange that there was this dichotomy of things happening in this hellscape, but also like they were so sweet to each other and whatever. That being said, funky writing aside, I found it super engaging, and the leveling up part of it, even though I would kind of breeze through the mana system and the magic system of that a little bit, I liked the whole leveling up system to see what would happen next, and they would reach these certain tiers and certain things would happen and it would be exciting. And the overall plot was pretty engaging, and even though I haven't got to it, I thought, as soon as I ended, I thought, should I just go right into the next one? That's how engaged I was with the overall plot. And, by the end, I usually look for, more philosophical. I'm coming from, I used to read, I still do, but I read the classics and things, and those always have these big morals and whatever, and slow burns, and these are, this was just action-packed. Even though they're chunky and there are slow burn portions of it, it is very much about that carrot on the end of the stick, and you're just trying to go a little further, just like the characters, and you feel that you are grinding in a video game or something. And so really liked this one. Dungeon Crawler Carl, I believe, was my second. It was either that or Bastion for the first one. Also enjoyed aspects of it, the plot of it. I liked the overall sort of plot and what's going on, even though it's mostly about Carl and this dungeon crawl that he gets sucked into with his girlfriend's cat. And it's about the humor and his inventory system and making do with what he has, and these funky kind of boss battles and things like that. And also very entertaining. I kind of bounced after the second book. I thought, I don't know if I'm going to keep going with this. Maybe one day, but also pretty entertaining though. But again, once I got to the end of it, even though it was very entertaining and it was a rip-roaring sort of, it was like I had the Back to the Future fire, tracks with how fast I was going through these. By the end of it, I didn't feel super satisfied by it, even though I enjoyed my time with it. And in this third one, that I just finished moments before starting this video, this Iron Prince, I felt a lot like I did with Bastion. I think of the three, this is maybe the one with the best writing, and I would say, well, I know Dungeon Crawler Carl is very popular and things, but this is the one that spoke to me in terms of the writing style and the characters, and the overall plot I am most engaged with. There's this school, or there's these CADs, which if you are everyone dreams of being a CAD user, which is like you go through this testing, and if you rank high enough, you might be awarded with this CAD system, which is like it's almost like a magical sort of you might have some wrist things at first, and it might evolve to be swords or daggers or a whip, and it just keeps evolving. And there's like tournaments of these high-ranking CAD users, and there are these schools and things, and that's where our main character finds himself here. But also, there's this Ender's Game sort of quality to it, I guess, where, there's this battle happening or many battles. There's this higher conflict happening at a far rim, and I'm hoping that we get to that. But at the moment for this first book, it was just him ranking up, going from the lowest ranking and just ripping through. And again, really enjoyed my time with it, just like I enjoyed my time with the other two. But at the end, you look back, and I think I didn't really get anything out of it necessarily, in terms of, I love characters who are noble and have some kind of, do great things, and there is that there, but so much of it for the 800 or so pages is just grinding through to see what's next. And so that is my dilemma. And also where now my focus is, and my pursuit would be, I suppose, in finding a lit RPG that has that, or progression fantasy that has that balance between a world that I want to be engaged with, that seems like it's moving forward, and more than strictly that grind. So even though I liked all of those, I don't know. I definitely will keep going with Bastion at some point. Maybe when it's closer to being completed. If it is, maybe I'd go to that now. And then I know Iron Prince has a sequel, and I don't know if it ends there or if it keeps going on. But I'm scared to go right into it because based on how much was kind of foreshadowed of what this first book would be about, it seems like now I get the idea of probably what the second book is going to be, and I still am hesitant, or I doubt that we're going to get to that bigger picture sort of thing until a third book. But I might be wrong. But I'm guessing I know already what the second book kind of area is going to be, and it is going to be cool and exciting. But I want to get to that. I want to get to that bigger plot happening. So anyway, if you are a lit RPG dude or gal, or a progression fantasy person, let me know some give me some suggestions. I know of the Wandering Inn and Cradle, and I recently heard of Master of Learning, some kind of time loop sort of thing. That seemed kind of cool. He Who Fights Monsters or something, and Primal Hunter or something like that. So anyway, let me know. I am still sort of undecided because on one hand, I clearly love my time with these books, but I want to get to those series where I will get to the end and feel like we really got somewhere. And I don't know if I've totally felt that way with Iron Prince, even though I loved it, or Bastion, which I also really loved. And then Dungeon Crawler Carl, I've just kind of set that aside and don't know if I'll get back to it. So anyway, those are my thoughts on the genre so far, and I'm definitely not done with it. But I am on the lookout for that one that really really hits it right in that sweet spot. So talk to you guys later. Bye.